In the last week, if you've been living in New South Wales, the rain that you've been receiving, if you've had any at all, has been in thunderstorms. This has been a bit of a mixed bag. On one hand, we haven't seen that much rain out of these storms. They've actually been starting fires. But on the other hand, it's bringing nice drops in temperature. Canberra yesterday getting one such storm, dropping the temperature 8 degrees in just 5 minutes' time after topping out at 41 degrees. This week, though, the winters of the rainfall are definitely going to be in the tropics, with the potential for tropical lows to develop early next week and affect the Kimberley and far north Cape York Peninsula regions. Even though we do have some light rain moving over the southeast and some storms today, they'll be fairly isolated for the most part, not affecting a huge area. We're going to see more showers and storms this weekend over parts of the southeast, but it's very hit and miss totals. But the heaviest and most widespread rain in the tropics. Queensland, you can see a closed isobar and a low-pressure system there, and off the Kimberley coast as well. To the east of these systems, or to the south in Queensland, will be where the heaviest rainfall is. And for the Kimberley, that's good news for you. You've had a pretty terrible start to the wet season, and it's very hot there. At least this will help to drop those temperatures. You can see next week how we have those lows potentially both making landfall around a similar period of time. Now, of course, it's a tropical system, so there's a high degree of uncertainty, but suffice to say the tropics do look to become active next week and potentially bring rain to areas that do need it. Friday's, or today's forecast on screen, showing areas of light rain over the southeast, mostly south of the ranges in Victoria, but the chance of some storms in New South Wales bringing isolated totals up to around 10 to 15 millimeters, more on the order of widespread 1 to 5 millimeters there. Looking at Saturday, chance of storms again on the ranges, again 10 to 15 millimeters isolated there. Rain over parts of the pastorals and down at the west coast of South Australia, and then easing back on Sunday as storms become a little bit more widespread in central New South Wales, affecting the Hunter, maybe even parts of the Sydney region. Isolated totals, again, 10 to 15 millimeters. But it's when we start to get to Mondays when we start to see that heavy rain really manifest itself over parts of the Kimberley and the far north Queensland Peninsula region. That's where, depending on the movement of these tropical lows, coastal totals could be in excess of 25, maybe even 50 millimeters if you get a thunderstorm or so. And then as you move to Tuesday, notice how that rain becomes more widespread. It's a bit diffuse here because this is an average taken of several weather models at once. So if the low actually moves very close to the shoreline, then a small area of the Kimberley, or relatively small, will get a large dumping of rainfall. That sort of pattern will continue on Wednesday. But again, there's a lot of uncertainty with that forecast. So here we go, the next 8 days rainfall forecast. You can see some rain over the southeast. This is mostly due to shower and storm activity. Average rainfall looks to be really only in the order of 1 to 5 millimeters, mostly settling the dust and bringing relief from hot temperatures. And it's fairly hit and miss, with some places potentially getting as much as around 15 millimeters. The heaviest rain over the tropics, where we have the potential from Monday onwards to see tropical lows start to impact parts of the Kimberley and the far north Queensland Cape York Peninsula. If they do make landfall there sometime mid next week, well, you could see totals over 100 millimeters.
The weekend is quickly approaching, so let's take a look at the forecast. In terms of rainfall, we're not likely to see too much rain across the country. A few showers forecast across southern parts of South Australia and the southeast, and we're likely to see showers and storms continuing across the northern tropics of the country. Now, in terms of the heat, we are expecting a bit of a milder change across southeastern parts of the country and moving into places of New South Wales, but for the west coast, conditions are really going to be heating up. Perth is set to hit a top of 39 degrees on Saturday, 29 the forecast, so slightly milder for you in Sydney on Saturday. Then Perth heating up to 40 degrees is your forecast maximum on Sunday, 32 the forecast for you in Adelaide, sunny skies, 25 degrees in Melbourne and Brisbane, partly cloudy and heading for a top of 33.
We've had 2 consecutive record-breaking heat waves over much of Australia. It's affected every state and territory. And next week, late next week, we actually look like we're going to be in for a very powerful and hot, gusty, cool change. This was earlier discussed with Diane Eady at the Bureau of Meteorology.
Temperatures heat up again, even in the southeast, by mid to late next week. So a very short reprieve from those really warm and oppressive conditions. With this cool change coming through, so the next front that we see, we are seeing potentially some more significant winds associated with that. So that being said, we're still seeing hot conditions. We're still seeing dry conditions, just as we've seen in the last couple of days. The missing ingredient, and why we haven't seen catastrophic fire dangers this time, has been the wind. So still a bit of uncertainty in terms terms of how strong this change is going to be, but certainly we could be looking at catastrophic fire dangers for parts of the southeast if those winds are strong enough. So one to keep an eye on as the situation evolves.
She's talking there about Thursday, Friday next week, potential for extreme, maybe even catastrophic fire danger in parts of the southeast. And that's with a very hot, dry, and gusty change rolling through. Today we have severe and very high fire danger in northern Victoria, New South Wales. In these situations, fires can become unpredictable and they can become quick moving, so you need to know what you're going to be doing in the event of a major bushfire near you. As we go into Saturday, we see the temperatures drop for parts of New South Wales, winds easing, but temperatures rising in the west, so we actually have kind of a shifting of fire danger, dropping down for the east, still remaining elevated, but rising for populated areas of the west coast. And then on Sunday, that's when we see widespread high 30 to 40 degree heat then affect Western Australia, and that will cause pockets of very high to severe fire danger, including parts of the Wheat Belt and the Perth Hills.